What's up guys, I'm Chad and this is the 2022 Street Bob.
Alright, so we're on the road test ride of the 2022 Street Bob. So things that changed from 2021 to 2022, it's pretty much the same bike. You've got mag wheels versus spoke wheels. I'm not a huge fan of spokes. I like the way they look, but you have to adjust them. You have to worry about the possibility of getting a flat and being kind of shit out of luck because of the tube. Whereas mags, you got a tubeless radial, so you can plug it or patch it. I don't recommend that, but if you're in a situation where you have to, then you can. As far as what they changed in 2021, that's where the big difference was. You got the 114 motor, you got a passenger setup. It's a much more well-rounded bike. And then before that, changes would have been in 2018 when they went from the Dyna to the Softail on the Street Bob. Huge difference there. It was completely redesigned. I'm a big fan of the new Softail. I think it handles better. Puts the power down better. It's more maneuverable. You can get down on this motorcycle. So who I think this would be a really good motorcycle for would be, you know, your bar hopper. Obviously, be a good bar hopper. These brakes aren't working very well. It'd be a good bar hopper. So, you know, cruising around town from point A to point B. If you're commuting, if you're a college student and you want to get to class, great motorcycle, throw on a backpack, you can zip around, it's good to go. It's only got a 3.5 gallon tank, so you're limited to, I mean, on paper 150 miles, but realistically 125, 130 with how I ride. This is not a bike that I would want to go on long distances on, for a few reasons. So you're going to have to change the seat out. You're going to have to add a fairing or a windshield. Preferably a fairing versus a windshield, because the windshield just kind of looks like kind of stupid on these bikes. Some kind of highway peg setup, and then you got the whole fuel thing. Only being able to go 150 miles if you ride like a princess doesn't really appeal to me. If I want to be able to throw some miles down without filling up, I want to have that ability, or just have that extra gas in case you're in an area where gas stations are few and far between. But as far as cruising around town, bar hopping, the Street Bob does it really well. You're gonna find that if you get up to highway speeds, kind of sucks without a windshield or a fairing. The wind kind of beats you up. These mini ape hangers throw your arms up and almost turn you into a sail. The 114 with the passenger peg setup was awesome for the ability to two-up ride. And those are some expensive upgrades. So if you were to add a passenger setup yourself, like the pillion and the pegs, it would probably cost you, $500 or $600 pretty easily, depending on which layout you went with. And then the 114, it's hard to put a price on that, but their price didn't change a lot from 2020 to 2021 despite getting those upgrades. And then mag wheels from 2021 to 2022, they didn't charge you a lot of money for that either, and that's a big upgrade that I see a lot of value in. When it comes to handling and maneuverability, I like mags. It's a no-fuss setup. They're smooth. They look cool. Mags all day. Mags for the win. When it comes to the peg setup, you've got mids versus forwards. I'm a big fan of mids for a lot of reasons. I've said it in a million of my other videos, but I like the placement that mids give you. You got more control. You can move your hips. You can adjust your weight. Whereas forwards, it kind of takes that away from you if you're not a taller guy. You know, if you're 6'3", 6'4", and up, then yeah, you can justify having forwards because you're a gigantic human being. As far as maneuverability, the Street Bob with a little bit more narrow front wheel and a 150 on the rear, this thing loves to handle. At low speeds, at high speeds, it just feels good. It feels natural. It's a bike you can have a lot of fun on. Now, something else, the fact that you've got a passenger setup does not mean that this is a bike you want to go cross country on with a passenger on the back. So if those are your intentions, you're going to learn, really quickly that that's not a good idea. It's such a narrow seat. They're pegs, they're not floorboards. You can do it, but it's not going to be pleasant for you or the passenger. Something else I really like about the Street Bob is the fact that it comes with mini ape hangers. For those of you that are skeptical about ape hangers, and a lot of you guys coming over from the sport bike community, you're going to think, you know, instant bub, you know, brother with ape hangers. When it's, you know, not crazy tall like this, it's pretty comfortable. Anytime you can get your hands right out in front of you, nice upright riding position without being slumped over, it helps out a lot with shoulder fatigue, lower back fatigue, even your legs. It does a lot of things for you. Now when you go crazy and you throw your apes up, you know, 16, 18, 20 inches, that's when it gets ridiculous. That's when there's no benefit to it other than thinking you look cool. I'll get some hate on that down here in the comments, but let it rip, Tater Chip. I like the way the bars help you maneuver as well. You've got leverage up top, so the Lowrider S, one thing I will say about it is after a few mods, it handles pretty well. But the bars you get on the Lowrider S versus the Street Bob, I think the Street Bob bars win all day long. When you've got more leverage up top and you can make very subtle movements and the bike reacts hypersensitively. So if that's a word. So the benefit of that obviously is low speed and maneuverability. Oh my god, the dog just tried to attack me. What the fuck is that guy's deal? Damn, that was wild. That dude's dog almost jumped out in the street at me. He does not like motorcycles. Fucking maniac. Goddamn killer golden doodles. On the Street Bob, this is a set of bars that you wouldn't have to change. You can roll with your stock mini ape hangers. They're comfortable, they look cool, they match the whole theme of the bike. I think Harley did a good job picking these bars out. Something that I really like is this gauge cluster. It's clean, it looks good. It's out of the way, it's modern. You know, the whole thing about a bobber is kind of what they're going for. The whole thing about a bobber is it's supposed to be minimalistic. It's supposed to have a certain look to it. And I think the Street Bob definitely accomplishes that. It's a good looking motorcycle. There's a cop following me. Hope he doesn't try to pull me over. Is he coming? Is he coming? Should I run? Should I run? But yeah, so as far as the gauge cluster goes, it's all integrated into the triple tree. So it look, well, I don't know if it's triple tree. It's the riser clamp, the bar riser clamp. It's all integrated in that. And it looks cool. It goes with the whole theme of a bobber, because a bobber's supposed to be minimalistic. There's not supposed to be a lot to it. And if you got this big gauge cluster going in the center of the tank, or a big circular gauge cluster hanging off the top, it's going to kind of take away from your bobber styling. So because they integrated it in the bar mount in 2018, it just gives it a much cleaner look. I'm a big fan of this style. And then also Fastback Blue is just a cool color overall. If I were to buy a Street Bob, Fastback Blue would be the color. They also make it in Gauntlet Gray, Vivid Black. I'm sure there's another color that I'm forgetting. Alright guys, so that about wraps it up for the ride portion. We're going to get back to the shop. I'm going to talk about some details. We're going to get up close and personal and show you some of the features on this motorcycle. Alright. Speed locked in. There we go. We're good to go. And oh man, it's not cool. We missed the shift. We're used to shifting the low ski. All right, ready to go. Run number 2. .65. Pretty consistent. For this run, I'm just gonna get straight into it, and I'm gonna drag that second gear out. There we go. This will be the best run, I think. .62, so it's pretty consistent. Please just listen. Pick me up, hold it down. Baby, just don't drown. Pick me up, hold it down. Baby,
So like I was saying before I got kicked out of my last spot, how's it going, man? I'm just shooting a review on a motorcycle. Do I have to bounce? Do I have to leave?
Unfortunately, yes, because all this is still technically private property.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll happily leave.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the Street Bob. This has been one of the more annoying videos to try and shoot. I got kicked out of a place, and then on the level 2 of this parking garage right here, a guy was like banging a rake around for absolutely no reason. So this is take number 3. Let's try it again. So as far as the Street Bob goes, it's an amazing motorcycle all around. Mini ape hangers, mid controls, mag wheels now, 114 motor, and it's on the soft toe suspension, so it's amazing. But that's not what the Street Bob's all about. The Street Bob's about the look. It's a bobber. So 3.5 gallon gas tank, very narrow and small, very streamlined, bobbed rear fender. You've got the minimalistic front end. There's not a lot going on up there. There's not a lot going on up there. You've got the gauge cluster that's mounted to the top of the riser bracket, which gives it a nice clean look. That's what this bike's all about. I see this bike best used for bar hopping, you know, cruising around town, whether it's commuting to school or work or whatever you got going on, date night, whatever it is. This is a great bike for that. What it's not great for is longer trips. I would not take this bike on a 300 or 400 mile trip in a day. You're just not going to be that comfortable. Between not having a windshield, you're going to get beat up by wind. The seat is not comfortable for longer trips at all. If you've ever ridden a Street Bob, you'd know that that seat is not comfortable whatsoever. You would have to do a few things to it to make it a great over-the-road bike, which you can, but there are better bikes for the money that you could spend if that's what you want to do with it, unless you just really love the look of the Street Bob. So as far as the controls go, it's pretty simple. It's almost like any other Harley. You've got your kill switch up top. That turns power off, that turns power on. You can hear your fuel pump engage. That is your start switch. You've got your hazards up top. You've got your right signal, left signal, horn, high beams, pass, and then right here, this cycles through your odometer, your trip A, trip B, all that good stuff. You've got your fuel gauge over here on the top left, miles per hour, kind of top to the right. In the right-hand corner, the top right-hand corner, you can't see it, but this is actually where your gear shift indicator. Whenever you're in first gear and you're bumping through gears all the way up to 6, it'll tell you what gear you're in, but it has to be on and engaged. Down here, you've got all your dummy lights, your check engine light, your oil light, your neutral light, all that fun stuff. So as I mentioned in the test ride, I'm excited about the mag wheels for a few different reasons. I like mag wheels, number one, primarily because you don't have to have a tube installed. It's a tubeless radial. So if you get a flat, you can plug or patch it. Although nobody carries plugs or patches, and you wouldn't want to ride on that for too long anyways. It's just cool to have the thought. I just like the look of the mag over the spoke. I'm not a huge fan of spokes. And then you don't have to adjust mags, whereas spokes, you have to adjust the tension. So to wrap things up, I think the Street Bob is an amazing motorcycle all around. It can perform, you can commute on it, go to work, school, whatever it is, and it looks amazing while doing it. So as always, if you guys have questions or concerns, leave a comment down below or reach out to me. Please like, subscribe, share the videos, and I'll see you next time.